I was recently scrolling through Facebook Marketplace and I saw a listing for a Mapex Saturn V drum kit. The drums were set up with what looked to be a copper shell snare drum with gold hoops, along with a double kick pedal, some interesting cymbals and a load of hardware. But so often on Marketplace and eBay, you see a listing for a drum kit set up with all the cymbals, and then you scroll down to the description and see the words that strike fear into the hearts of any bargain hunter. Shell pack only. But after looking through the pictures, it seemed obvious that the seller had gone out of his way to photograph the snare drum separately and make sure that the buyer would know exactly what was included. And sure enough, when I scrolled down, I can see the listing for all of the cymbals separately, all of the hardware, and even the World Max snare drum. But there was a problem. The listing had been active for 7 hours, and in the 13 years that I've been buying and selling drums, most of the bargains I've ever had, I've seen within the first hour or two of them going live. But after messaging the seller, it turned out to still be somehow available, and I arranged to go and view it the next morning, and that is where our story begins. I'm currently on my way to Chesterfield, which is famous for its very uncomfortable but very cool sofas, and I'm on my way to get this Mapex Saturn V. I think it'll be a really nice kit and hopefully a really great video as well. Success, all good. Look at this. So much stuff in the car though. I've got some parcels I need to post from a different video. I've got loads of cymbals there. Extra snare drum. I'll tell you about the snare drums actually when we're at home. I just wanted to drop this in quickly. I'm not going to spend long on the hardware with this kit, partly because, as you can see, I'm running a bit low on space. So what I've decided to do, I've listed the hardware on Marketplace. Currently I've done the hi-hat stand, the disappearing boom stand over there, and then this incredible contraption here with the two boom arms on it. I've had a guy message me who's bought some stuff from me before who said he's going to collect this on Sunday, which is great, and he wants the boom stand as well, so that's really, really good news. There's also a snare drum stand here, which came with the kit, a big dog, and it's a nice kind of tilting, swivelly one, and there's a Mapex double kick pedal, which you will have seen on the photos. There is a stool as well, and then we've got all the Mapex floor tom legs there, but I am going to set the kit up, and of course we're going to demonstrate these lovely snare drums. So I've just put the bass drum in situ, and as I picked it up I realised actually there's nothing currently inside the bass drum, and there's also no mic port on the front, so I am going to need to probably put something in the bass drum before I set it up, otherwise it's going to be much more difficult to get the skin off. There's an awful lot of dust here, just can you see that? So I'm going to give it a little bit of a clean. I'm not going to use any products obviously on the inside of the drum, but there's just a ton of dust here, so let's give it a little bit of a look over. That'll be alright. Right, so I've put the batter skin back on the Saturn V, as you can see. The only problem I can think is that there's no mic port, and I always like to have a mic port because you get a lot more definition from the kind of front end of the bass drum note. Now what I'm going to do, because I've made a mistake you see on the last few videos, I've listed the stuff for sale too late in the process of making the video and releasing the video. So what I want to do is basically list as I go. So once the shell pack is set up with no hardware around it, I'm going to basically take some photos for eBay, so I've got as much time to sell it and get as good a price as possible for the shell pack. I started off by giving the shell pack a very quick clean. The drums were in excellent condition of course, but I could tell they'd been sitting somewhere set up for a while, and they were just trying to have the dust taken off. After mounting the 12x8" high tom to a boom stand, I put the floor tom legs into both the 14x14 and 16x16 before detuning all the drums, as I wanted to align the logo on the skin with the logo on each drum. It's a small detail, but if it makes the kit look better for the eBay listing, then I'm all for it. Plus it would give me a chance to tune it myself from scratch for when I record it later in the video. Collection only. No, I'm not posting it. No, I will not use AI description. Recommended 177 quid? What? I don't think eBay knows what a Mapex Saturn V is. It's not a bloody Mapex Comet, is it? Saturn V 4-piece went for 500 quid. That's not a very good sign there. Maybe a 945 or best offer. Allow offers, minimum offer 700 quid. There we are listed. It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to play it. I've just been to the bank to go and drop 90 quid in because somebody came around the other day and bought one of the boom stands and also one of those multi-stands that I had. I had two of those, and then somebody came yesterday night and paid 45 quid for the other multi-boom stand. So that means that so far from the Mapex deal, I've got, what, £135 back. The next day, whilst wearing a different t-shirt, I photographed and listed all of the cymbals for sale, and we'll have a closer look at those in a moment, as it's now time to set up and play this absolutely stunning white marine Saturn V. This was all going according to plan until I encountered a problem, which I made for myself, as you'll see now. As you can see, I'm midway through setting up, and I'm starting to think that maybe I shouldn't have sold all of the stands, as I have clearly ran out. So I'm going to have to go raid my gig bag. However, I use all straight stands for my gig bag, so I've got 2 splashes left and the stag bell, which I don't know if I'm going to bother with. I mean, I'll probably try and put it on top of the ride with a wing nut upside down or something like that. Yeah, I shouldn't have sold all the stands. I'm going to go get some straights, and we're going to put the 2 splashes on, and then I can set about starting to try and make the kit sound good and hopefully feel good as well, because this isn't exactly my setup. Now that we're all set up here, it's time to talk about the not 1, not 2, but wait for it, 3 snare drums that came with this kit. 2 of which weren't even on the advert. The great thing is that the guy told me yesterday, because he wanted to close the deal, you know, he said, I think I've got the original snare drum. Or, well, what he said was, I think I've got a Mapex snare drum that I can give you as well, providing you pay the full asking price, basically. And actually, that wasn't listed in the description or seen in the photos. And the only question remaining is, how many comments am I going to get on this jacket? Now at this point in the video, I wanted to add a little bit of playing from the first snare drum, the Mapex Pro M 14x5.5, which is going to be given away to one of my channel members, but more on that later on. But on the day I recorded this, I actually played the Yamaha Rock Tour snare first. And although I'd started to tune the toms after slacking off all the skins, I'd been forced to start from scratch in trying to achieve a good sound. You'll see me here having quite a few issues with that 14-inch tom, playing around with the dampening, using gaffer tape by the way because the red gel kept coming off, it just needs a clean to make it stick properly again. And by this point I'd already adjusted the resonant or bottom skin, tuning each lug to the same pitch, and you'll see me doing the same thing here with the batter side or top skin. To test if a head is tuned evenly, you can play the drum around an inch away from each tension bolt and then play the opposing side. If the pitch sounds different, then you can adjust accordingly until both sound roughly alike. Then go around each lug box using your chosen lug as the reference. Tuning all the bolts to the same pitch will help to avoid any unwanted overtones or strange ringing from the drum, although it's not the only way to tune drums. Some people like to drop the pitch of a single lug to give different sounds, but this is pretty much how I like to do my toms. really should have cleaned that moon gel, but I do think that Yamaha sounds really nice. And actually, the Pro M I was super impressed with. I had it tuned fairly low, but I've been really impressed with both snare drums. We're going to get onto the World Max in a moment. Now you may be able to hear a bit of ringing on the World Max snare drum, and although I could hear this a little bit while I was recording, I didn't want to totally kill the drums by over dampening them. This can make them all sound a little bit too similar in my opinion. So although I used a single piece of gel, I thought I'd leave all 3 snare drums just to sing a little bit. Now I don't know if this would cause issues, particularly on the World Max in a full band mix, and although I could have EQ'd it out if I'd wanted to, I just felt like I should show you how the snare drum sounded in a fairly natural recording setting. The other thing to note here is that the World Max and the Yamaha both had their stock skins, however the Mapex Pro M has been upgraded with an Evans Level 360, and I think you can really hear the difference that a good skin makes. If I were keeping the World Max, I would definitely upgrade to something similar, probably a little bit thicker as it's a deeper drum, and then I could probably use quite minimal dampening, but I could just control the overtones a little bit better. If you couldn't hear what I meant by the overtones before, then you'll probably hear it more as I switch now from cross stick to full snare, and I'm just playing like a backbeat groove, keeping it fairly simple, and I gradually add in more ghost notes to develop it a little bit. But you should hear that ring. Let me know in the comments section, what do you think? I quite like it to be fair, but like I say, it might cause issues in the mix. Now somebody's coming to pick up the ZBT ride cymbal in about 20 minutes time, so I just wanted to do a quick walk around with the kit. This is the last time these lot are all going to be together. I know it's kind of sad. So we've got the 14-inch ZBT, or ZBT, as apparently I should probably be pronouncing it, as somebody kindly pointed out in the comment section. We've got the 16-inch XSR Fast Crash there as well. These were, again, a little bit more expensive than I thought they would be. To be honest, I don't think they look that expensive. I don't think they look as nice as a AAX, and I don't really know why that is. And I don't know if it will show up on camera, but you can kind of see this like pinkishness through it. It's almost like it's not as good quality metal, but I don't know. Like if I compare that to a AAX here, I don't know, I just feel like this looks a lot more expensive, but actually, like these are not cheap cymbals, you know, by any means. It's like the bell and stuff, it just feels a bit, I don't know. But they sound good, to be honest, they sound really good. Then we've got our ZBT Ride here, 20-inch. We've got the little Stag Bell, which I think is a 7-inch. That has sold as well, actually, 15 quid. And then we've got the Holy China, which sold on the way to my gig yesterday. So that's great. That's also got to be wrapped up. And then we've got the big old 19-inch Fast Crash there, XSR. And then we've got the Meinl Classics Custom 12-inch Dual Trash Splash here. So you will have heard me playing on the kit throughout the video, and that was all filmed yesterday. To be honest, I like the sound of it generally, but I was having a bit of trouble with this 14-inch tom. I think partly, and it's not a slight against the skins that are on it, but I think tonally they look very 80s and they sound very 80s. And there's like tons of attack, but there's not a lot of like depth to it, and I think that's probably what the player who had the kit before me wanted, but it's not really what I would want for it. I would put some different skins on. I'm not going to say better skins, but I'll put some different skins on. I don't know, just something with a bit more warmth to it, really, I think. It's a bit of a funny one, but yeah, it's not really sounding how I would want it, but I can't say it's sounding bad necessarily, but yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, I really like it, and somebody has bought it. They're coming all the way from Cornwall to come and pick it up, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it being out of my studio, but I think this is probably my favourite kit that I've bought for the channel so far, apart from the Star Classic. So it's that point in the video where I tell you how I made out on the entire deal, but I haven't yet said how much I got for the shell pack, and that's the super exciting one and the really important one as well. But I also mentioned earlier that one of you guys is going to be the lucky winner of this beautiful Mapex Pro-Am snare drum. This is, I believe, maple and basswood, and it's a 10 lug snare drum, which is great, and it's got the 2.3mm power hoops, which I think they put on the Black Panthers as well. So it's kind of like a baby panther. And the way that you guys can win this is that I'm going to be running fortnightly competitions for channel members. So I currently have a discount code, which is MAPEXME, all in capital letters, and you can sign up through the link in the description below. It's £1.50 a month for the first 3 months if you use the discount code, otherwise it's £2.99. But basically, every 2 weeks you're going to be entered into a competition automatically. You'll also have the option to join our Discord server, where I am pretty much on a day-to-day basis posting drum deals that I'm not going to buy, and also other people have been posting as well. There are already a few of us in the Discord. There are currently only 6 people entered to win this snare drum, so the chances are quite high that you might take it home. And I will post it anywhere in the world, which I might regret saying, because it might cost me more than the snare is worth. But either way, if you'd like to enter, just click the link in the description below, and it would be great if you want to say hi in the Discord. You don't need to, you'll still be in the competition. So, on to the Saturn V. So, I paid £1,000 for the Saturn V, but I managed to get, on eBay, £875 and 76p just for the shell pack. Now, my tactic here, and what I've learned from previous videos, is that if you've got something that's quite specialist, which in this case I believe any high-end kit to be quite specialist, the thing to do is actually to list it as a buy it now or best offer. If I'd have listed it as an auction, the chances of more than 2 or 3 people, particularly in the UK, wanting a white marine Saturn V with a 22-inch bass drum, a 12, a 14 and a 16, there can't be that many people looking for one. Well, some great news. I've managed to sell the World Max snare drum, £286. Look at that, an 81p. Super chuffed with that. Now, I'm not going to go through all the hardware, all the symbols. I'll quickly say that I got 65 quid for the Mapex double kick pedal, which I thought was a bit cheap, to be honest. It's really funny. I had that recently on another video where there was a Natal double kick pedal, and I just couldn't sell it, you know? So I don't know what's going on with double kicks at the moment. So what did I do in total? What did I make? Well, my total turnover was £2,153, 61p, which means that my profit was £1,153 and 61p. Now, there is one thing that I need to address. So you see on my list here, there's a yellow thing. That means I haven't sold it yet. And it says bass drum hoops. Now, you may have noticed that in those early photos from the drum listing when it was on Marketplace where I saw it, the kit was adorned with black bass drum hoops. And when I went to pick the kit up, he'd actually put the original ones back on, and it said in the description that the original hoops had been damaged and then remade. Now, I couldn't really work out what he meant, because he'd already put the original ones back on, and as far as I could tell, they were absolutely, like, perfect. And when the guy picked the kit up from me, he had a good look at it, and he didn't mention anything. I mean, there was nothing to mention. So I'm not really sure what the story was there, but the upshot is that I've ended up with some black 22-inch bass drum hoops, which I've been trying to sell on Marketplace. I didn't really want to post them because, well, they're massive. I didn't really want to do that. So if you want some black bass drum hoops, drop me a message on Instagram at Harrywestonc, and for £10, they're yours. If they're in the UK, I tell you what, then you can have them if you want. I'll post them to you. First person who wants some black bass drum hoops, I'll post them to you. But please don't be in another country. I just want to say thank you, everybody, so much for supporting the channel and watching the videos. I really hope that you're enjoying them. You may have seen a short from me recently, which was about a very interesting kit, which I'm not going to say it's Heyman, because I don't think it's Heyman. I'll put up a short recently. You may have seen that. And the kit's currently in my shed, actually, because I got no space. But it looks Heyman, but it's definitely not Heyman. and it's just confused me entirely. So we're going to be doing a video of that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again on the channel before too long. Have a great day, and yeah, bye for now. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.